In the past couple of years, I've spent about 20,000 miles on a dual sport motorcycle, a Honda CRF250L. This is a lightweight dual sport motorcycle, and coming from dirt bikes, this is what I've learned. Now, there will be some of you out there that are absolutely in love with dual sporting. And also there's a lot of channels and people that are promoting the dual sporting life. But my experiences, my thoughts are a little bit different as far as this particular type of a sport. And I'm going to share them in this video so everybody can understand what really dual sporting is. Before I get into the details, let me clarify a couple of things real quick. A dirt bike, it's a motorcycle that is specifically designed for track. These are only good at tracks. They can do trail, but they're not really specifically designed for trail, and therefore they're going to be very uncomfortable with their hard suspension and a motor that is not optimized for trail riding. Enduro motorcycle or trail motorcycles are a deviation of the dirt bike, but with softer suspension and a motor that is a little bit more tuned up to be able to handle trail much better. The huge disadvantage of the trail or enduro bikes is that they are not allowed to ride on the road. They are not street legal. And they also need to be hauled to the trailhead and back using a truck or a trailer hitch. It's the type of a motorcycle that you put in the back of your truck, you park it at a staging area, you go and enjoy dirt as much as you can, and then you come back home and you drive comfortably in your truck or your van or your car all the way to your garage. Lightweight dual sport motorcycles took this concept even further. So they try to keep as much dirt bike as possible into the frame and the ergonomics of the motorcycle, but also put a motor that is a lot more friendly to riding on the street. And they also have lights, and they make the bike street legal with turn signals and horn and other things that are required for you to ride on the road. These motorcycles are heavily modified dirt bikes with more comfortable seating. The motors are highly detuned with less frequent oil change intervals, lower compression, and usually 50% or less power than the similar dirt bike motor. The lightweight dual sport motorcycles are usually 200 cc's up to 450, even into the 500s. Once you pass the 500, the lightweight starts to disappear, and those motorcycles starts to morph into adventure bikes. Still capable of riding off-road, but definitely a lot more comfortable on the road. They have a lot more power, they could go a lot faster, but they could be very cumbersome in very, very tight terrain. So when I choose a dual sport from Honda, the CRF250L, one of the reasons that I've chosen it is because it's very, very light. Also, it's very, very affordable. So where I was riding it in Europe, I needed to be able to have a reliable bike that will not break down on me, especially because I was riding by myself. When I bought it, I was aware of its downfalls. I've done my research. Everything that you've learned in this video, I already knew. But still, experience is everything. And once I've started to ride it, I actually started to discover what the lightweight dual sport world really is. In the first year, I was super excited because everything was new and everything was interesting. I made a couple of mistakes and I started to ride this dual sport motorcycle with my enduro helmet. And that was a huge problem because the wind noise was just ridiculous. I've always enjoyed having goggles and not having dust in my eyes. But when you ride dual sport, and especially when you ride alone, dust is not a problem. Very rarely you catch somebody from behind, like a vehicle or something like that. So a normal adventure helmet will be much better because it will be a much more comfortable. Less wind noise, less wind resistance.
I'm freezing my butt! Woohoo! It's 10 Celsius this morning, and I'm not dressed for this.
Also, a huge advantage is the fact that on dual sport adventure helmets, you have a screen that you could lift up and put down that will allow you to sunblock or not. So you're much more comfortable riding at night when you lift that thing up, and you can still see very, very well. If you're riding with goggles, you'll have to carry a second pair of goggles for night riding because with tinted goggles, you're not going to be able to see anything. Also, a dual sport helmet or adventure helmet is going to be much better for headphones and music because it blocks the wind noise more and you could hear your music better. But the biggest advantage of a lightweight dual sport motorcycle is that you have a dirt bike with the quotes that you don't have to put in the back of the car. You could leave your garage or you could leave your parking space, ride all the way to the trail, enjoy the trail, and then come all the way back home. Also, because it's a dual sport, You could connect dirt roads with street and then back to dirt and back to street without being worried that police is going to chase you and then is going to give you a ticket. But as soon as you start riding a dual sport, you're going to start noticing a couple of problems that start to come up from the fact that there is a convenience of having a car and hauling your dirt bike in the back. First of all, dirt bikes or trail bikes, they offer you a lot more performance in the same capacity engine, and also they're a lot lighter. So when you're riding off-road, they don't beat you as much. Dual sport motorcycles have softer suspension, heavier engine, heavier frames, and all the lights and blinkers and other things attached to it makes it a little bit more cumbersome. Yes, it fits on a single track and it fits on the same trails, but it will not climb hills the same way. You feel the lack of power on the motor is not as blippable. That means that the motor doesn't rev as well. And also you have a lot more engine brake. Putting performance off-road on the side. Lightweight dual sport motorcycles have a very, very big problem. And that's the fact that because you have to keep them light like dirt bikes, they also have small engines that have not a lot of power. And to make them nimble off-road, you have to make them really handicapped on the road. So you're limited to 60 or 70 miles an hour. The wind noise is really annoying because you don't have a big windshield in front of you, which will be very impractical if you will start riding off-road and you will have nowhere to fold it or put it. And at 60 miles an hour, getting to places that are really far, it will take you forever. So even though you get on the bike and you feel like you want to enjoy the ride, all of a sudden, all the cars in the world start to pass you and you struggle to pass big trucks, it makes it not as enjoyable as a motorcycle ride should be. And a lot of times you have to spend hours and hours and hours to get to a place where you want to be, riding with the wind blowing in your face and stopping every 120 miles to get gas because of their small tanks. And once you get off-road, then things starts to lighten up a little bit. The bike is fun. You could enjoy nature. Dirt roads are really awesome thing to be on. The big advantage of a dual sport bike is that it can do 60 miles on the road or off-road. You could push them hard a little bit in some places, but they don't accelerate or stop as well as a dirt bike. Also, if the road gets really rough, you gotta be careful because they will bottom out. Single track on a dual sport, even though it's possible, it's nowhere near as fun. Hill climbs also, the bike is gonna be severely handicapped compared to a dirt bike, which runs more like an aggressive, blippable vehicle, where you could push things to the limit. On a dual sport motorcycle, what usually you do is you put it in first, and if you're lucky and you have enough power in second gear, you pin that throttle down and hope that the rear wheel is going to carry you up there. It is definitely a really nice bike to explore places that are far away from your house. It solves a big problem because you don't have to have a truck, a trailer, or a van to move it around, and also is very fuel efficient. On these bikes, especially the Honda CRF250L or 250L, you get about 70 miles a gallon. But everything is a compromise with the dual sport. The tire that you choose is going to be either good off-road or on the road, but not on both. It is an entry-level bike for those people that want to experience off-roading and see which part of the off-roading on two wheels are they more inclined towards. Usually people migrate from lightweight dual sport bikes in two directions. They either migrate to trail bikes that need to be carried in the back of a truck because of the performance that they offer off-road, or they migrate towards heavier dual sports or even adventure bikes. These are the people that enjoy riding on the road and want to dip their wheels into some kind of off-roading, some kind of a road where you struggle a little bit and then you're going to take a couple of spills and dips, but in the same time you could pick up your bike and still go forward. These are the people that just want to see a little bit of a forest but also want to hang out with their friends on the road. Where the trail riders are the people that like to push each other to the limit. They want to race their friends off-road and see who's going to be better. Few companies make lightweight dual sports these days, mostly because the market for them, it's a little bit thin. The Yamaha discontinued the WR250R because there was not that many sales on it, but they kept the YZ and the WR250F. Honda revamped their CRF line with the CRF300L with fuel injection and ABS. Kawasaki kept their KLX 250 and then 300 with a little bit of a graphics, made it look a little bit more new, but in the same time still has that old look. and still doesn't have ABS today. And the Suzuki DRZ, the very faithful bike that everybody seems to know about, hasn't got any updates in a very long time. Doesn't have fuel injection, so riding it anywhere over 8,000 feet is gonna sputter and is going to have a huge lack of power because of the carburetor. Also does not have still today an ABS system. So lightweight dual sport motorcycles are really dying if you really ask me. Thanks to Honda, Kawasaki and Suzuki, they're still holding on to the market at affordable prices. KTM and Sherco and other brands like Gas, they do offer some models that try to match this category, but unfortunately at 50% more expensive than the Honda, Kawasaki or the DRZ, they really make no sense. In conclusion, should you buy a dual sport motorcycle? Because this is the reason I'm making this video. I have to say that I had fun for the first year, and the second year was not bad. By the third and fourth year, it gets really boring after a while, especially if you have one place where you live from all the time, aka your garage or your driveway. Because the roads to the first mountain or the roads to the first trail are going to get repetitive, and these bikes are really not as much fun as you think. I actually fit into that category where I would rather have an electric bicycle that I carry in the back of a car and go and enjoy dirt roads and connect with nature, and once I'm done, put the bike back onto the rear of the car and return home. For those people that like a little bit more extreme things, a dirt bike or a trail bike will be highly recommended for these areas. But unfortunately, a lot of the dirt roads require you to be street legal. And if that's a requirement, then dirt bikes and off-road bikes might not qualify for this particular type of restriction. So if you're thinking about getting into the dual sport motorcycles, I would recommend you to get with something used. Buy an older bike, see how much you like it, and see what are the things that you enjoy most about it. Once you know which direction you go, then start spending your serious money and then be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. I hope this video helped you out, and let me know what you think at the bottom of the video in the comment section. Always like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Vegas Romaniac out.